Hi, I'm Giovanni, a full-time engineer who wants to share the adventure he has on weekends and on vacation. Hey everyone, today I would like to discuss my experience skiing in Hokkaido, Japan, a destination I have long aspired to visit. The primary attraction is the renowned snow, often referred as Japao. Additionally, the culinary offerings and the traditional Japanese hot springs or onsens also contribute to the allure of this location. We spent the first 7 days in Otaru, taking day trips to various resorts. Now that I know the area better, I'd stay closer to Rusutsu, my favorite resort from this part of the trip. Let's dive into what we did day by day for this part of the trip. For the first day of skiing we went to Kiroro, which was about 40 minutes away from our hotel. It was a mistake not to buy the tickets online because there was quite a long line when we arrived there, since there was no distinction between the ticket line and the rental line. After that we encountered almost no line anywhere. The access to powder directly from the lift was quite limited as the trees are very tight in most places, but I still suspect there might be some interesting side country with more time to explore. On the second day we went to Niseko, which is quite a large resort but crowded. It must be amazing right after a big snowfall, but when we were there it definitely needed a refresh. We still managed to find some areas with good leftover snow. The choice for the third day was Rusutsu, which was the best place so far. I really like that it has well-spaced trees and it is not crowded. On the way back it started to snow a lot. For the fourth day we were in Rusutsu again, where we finally had some good snow. We spent the day exploring and finding good spots in the trees. On the fifth day, we didn't want to drive so far, so we went to Otaru Tenguyama, a tiny resort above the city. The views were amazing, and it is a great place for a short day or even a rest day. It has some very steep groomers and some tree skiing. On the day we were there it was extremely cold and the weather was very variable. It must have changed between sun and snowing at least 5 times. On the sixth day we drove from Otaru to Asahikawa in a snowstorm and decided to stop in Kamui Ski Links. It looked like a good resort from the first impression with good snow, but Ola got hurt on the second run.
My leg! I think I broke it!
No! We immediately stopped skiing and went looking for the hospital that the ski patrol recommended in Asahikawa. There they confirmed no bone was broken, but they didn't tell us much about the ligaments in her right knee, which we suspected was the issue. From the day after, I was only skiing in the mornings to join Ola for lunch and spend the rest of the day together. I still wanted to ski, but I also didn't want to abandon her in a hotel room while she was injured. For the seventh day I was again in Kamui Ski Link and spent the morning exploring around, since I didn't get to see much on the previous day. I also spent the next 2 mornings here exploring around and enjoying the snow that fell. On the 10th day we had to get to Sapporo and I decided to stop in Furano, that is about 1 hour away from Asahikawa. It was more crowded as a resort and the line for the first cable car was quite long, but overall it was really good. I really want to go back and explore some more. It was a storm powder day and some lifts were closed due to the wind, but it looked like there is a lot accessible terrain that might be really good. After this half day of skiing we continued to Sapporo. The next day in Sapporo was the 11th and last skiing day in Japan, and I went to Sapporo Teine, which surprised me once I got there. It was a much bigger resort than I expected and it had spectacular views on the city. I managed to find some powder even on the slopes and it looked like it has some nice steep backcountry, but it was too risky to venture there alone. Regarding the cost of the trip, I will mention my half of the cost. The cost of the flights can change a lot depending on where you're flying from, so I will not talk about it. Here is what I spent. 145,000 yen for all the costs related to the car. That includes renting, tolls, fuel. 140,000 yen for all the accommodation costs. That includes hotel, breakfast and parking at the hotels. And 80,200 yen for all the ski tickets, with the most expensive being Rusutsu, which costed 11,200. I did also not mention the cost of food because it can vary a lot depending on what you want to eat, but in general I would expect to spend 1,000 to 3,000 for a meal on the slopes and up to 5,000 for a nice dinner. Regardless of all accident, it was a good trip and I still experience skiing in Japan. I'm also really motivated to come back to explore more in the backcountry and go to the Asahikawa ropeways because I've heard amazing things about it. I hope that this video gave you some insight into skiing in Japan and inspired you to visit. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments if you skied in Japan or if it's on your bucket list. And don't forget to subscribe for more ski adventures. There's plenty more to come.